What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. So guys, as you know, the new boss has arrived and she is Death Vice, and well, actually she came in the appropriate time because, well, we have been suffering enough from Ralph and Oswald, and well, it's about time to shut them down. So yeah, without any delay guys, today's character introduction will be for Death Vice. Okay, so as you can see, Death Vice is an API 15 gank. Of course, the stats would say moderate stats in all regards, okay, as usual, gank. And the feature says revenge and counter attack. Now here you're gonna see why it's the feature is like that. In short, because she can store a lot of energy and she can unleash them in her ultimate so that she can deal a lot of damage to one opponent. Of course, we're gonna see that in the skills. Now the feature also says Orochi's blood because, well, she has Orochi's blood along with Iori, Yamazaki, Mature, Vice, Leona, Chris, Yashiro, Shermie, Orochi, Rugal, Genetz, Orochi Chris, Orochi Yashiro, Orochi Shermie, Crazy Iori, Orochi Leona, Omega Rugal, Instinct Iori, and Geniko. You know, a lot of people have it. So yeah, as well, she carries the Orochi's blood in her. Now starting with the fates, the first one, Orochi's blood, of course we need Death Vice, Cruel Beauty, Mature, and Caddy Leona. Now of course Mature should be coming soon as well, and she complements Vice in a way. There's a nice synergy between them, so of course once she arrives we're gonna talk about it, of course. Death Impact, the second fate, we need Death Vice, Rugal, Mature, Vice, increasing attack plus 25%, and Fatal Temptation, we need Death Vice, Alluring Mai, and Orochi Shermie, increasing HP by 25%. So you can see the fates aren't really hard. Two fates are easily unlocked, and the third one usually female team users can unlock them if they were using Caddy Leona specifically. So definitely two fates are easy to unlock. In addition to that, of course, her weapon, the Earrings of Death, and she uses Orochi Badge and Thai Boxing Tome. Now moving to her Fight Soul. The Fight Soul is called the Tiger Soul, well, without any specific description, but it says here gains 55 rage when the fighter is dead on either side and restore extra rage when attacked. So it's a combination of a Tiger Soul and a Tortoise Soul as well. So that's why having a Tortoise Soul, she might be able to be placed at the front. Of course, again, we're gonna say that in the end of the video. Now, moving to her skills. First, her passive, Death Smite. When Death Vice is deployed, gain Despair Power, which lasts for the whole battle. What is the Despair Power? So increases damage, resistance, and HP drain by 16%, and this feature lasts for the whole battle. And Small Skill will be released in the first round, so Small Skill is guaranteed for the first round. On the enemy's turn, store 50% of the damage received in the Cauldron of Pain. The Cauldron of Pain stores the damage that is up to 7 times on attack since deployment. Now here, I'm gonna upload a screenshot to illustrate what is the Cauldron of Pain. It is this bar above her head which stores energy in the form of, well, a purple color. Okay, you will see a purple color once she starts storing the energy. So the Cauldron of Pain is like a feature where it allows her to store energy up to 7 times her attack since the deployment, and it won't reset after Death Vice dies. So she won't really lose all the stored energy if she dies. And the damage of the Cauldron of Pain will be accumulated again after the ultimate is released. So what she does is that every time she is attacked, she can store energy or power in the Cauldron of Pain. And once she makes an ultimate, she will use all the stored energy and do additional damage, which is a lot of damage as well, and such that the Cauldron of Pain will reset after she makes an ultimate. And once she makes an ultimate, she will be able to start storing energy again. Now, when the energy or the damage in this that is stored in the Cauldron of Pain is more than 80% of its upper limit, so when it has like 80% full, own debuff and petrification will be cleared, so she will clear debuff, and all the rage will be restored, so she will be able to gain full rage when she reaches 80% of the maximum the maximum stored energy in the Cauldron of Pain. Okay, when Death Vice dies, Herald of Despair effect will be activated. What does it mean? She will resurrect in the next own turn, restore HP by 30%, and inherit all the rage, store 30% damage of the upper limit of the Cauldron of Pain, and gain ultimate resistance and small skill resistance by 25% for 1 round. Okay, so after she resurrects, she will be able to gain all those buffs, and the cooldown of the Herald of Despair is 3 rounds, so she can actually resurrect after 3 rounds. If she dies after 3 rounds, then she will be able to resurrect again. Now at this stage, it will be hard to see her resurrecting twice in a battle. Most likely you will see her to resurrect once, but it's still possible for her to resurrect more than once. And you know, this effect, the resurrection effect, can take place up to twice per battle. I think after the gates unlocked, I think it will be 3 times. I'm still not sure about it, but I think she will be able to resurrect 3 times in the battle. If there are fewer than 6 fighters in the own side when Death Vice is deployed, the effect will take effect once. So of course, if we're talking about like 1 versus 1 in tournaments or stuff like that, she can only resurrect once and not more. Now when the Herald of Despair is activated, the effect of the Despair power will increase by 150%. So we've mentioned the Despair power here. You know, the buffs that she take at the beginning of the battle, the damage, the resistance, and the HP drain will be 24% instead of 16% after she resurrects, okay? Now here, so yeah, we said 150%, and the effects can be stacked with the other effects. Now, finally, of course, the Interfere skill decrease all the enemy's attack, which is not stackable with other Interfere skills. Interfere skill does not take effect when the fighter is deployed as an 8 fighter. Of course, starting at level 1, she will decrease all enemies' attack by 15%. Again, and as always, I always say this is a must-have skill in your team, in any team basically. Now, of course, starting now with the ultimate, Overkill. Attack a single enemy and release all the damage that are stored in the Cauldron of Pain to the primary target. The damage ignores the immunity to debuff effects, but affected by damage and resistance rate. So she will make an ultimate to a single target and empty all the stored energy as additional damage to that target. Now, increase own damage and resistance rate by 20% for 2 rounds, and add the Despair mark to the target. Now here, the Despair mark, of course, again, I'm gonna upload a screenshot to show how the Despair mark, it's like red bubbles around the target, but I think in global they didn't patch the Despair mark yet. At least I haven't seen it in peak battle yet, but in case they haven't patched it, at least we know it's there, and they might just patch it in the next patch, in the next update. So yeah, this is the Despair mark, reduces the target's resistance rate by 15% and HP healing rate received by 30%, and the effect lasts for 2 rounds and ignores the immunity to debuff. So even if the opponent is immune to debuff, it would still affect him, and it cannot be dispelled. That's the nice thing about it as well. If the target already had the Despair mark before Death Vice attacks, the Despair mark won't be added, and this attack will gain an additional damage by 10% for 1 round. So let's say the target already has the Despair mark, then instead of adding another Despair mark on him, she will deal extra damage by 10%, and the cooldown of the Herald of Despair will be decreased for 1 round. This is very important actually. Let's say the opponent has a Despair mark and she makes an ultimate on the same opponent again, then actually she will be able to resurrect after 2 turns and not 3 turns. Okay, so here as you see, the cooldown will be reduced for 1 round, and this is actually pretty important because most likely if this happens, she will be able to resurrect again in the same battle, and you know, resurrecting is always a good feature for any fighter. Now, of course, finally, after the weapon awakens, the effect will be improved in an all-round way. The Despair mark will be spread in a specific situation. So here they're saying that after we awaken her weapon, she will be able to spread the Despair mark not only on the main target, but somehow on other targets in a specific situation. Of course, we can't be sure about it at this stage, but after the weapon is here, we will have a better understanding of this description, okay? Now, finally, her minor skill, the Deicide. Attack a single enemy and there is a 40% chance to stun the target, restore own 150 rage, and store 10% of the damage that is dealt to the target in the Cauldron of Pain, and convert 10% own attack to defense after the attack for 1 round. This is a nice feature actually. It's like after she makes her attack, she will convert 10% to defense, so that, you know, just for 1 round until the next round. So if Death Vice as well attacks a target with a Despair mark on him, an extra 30% damage will be added. Of course, the damage ignores the immunity to debuff, and extra 30 rage will be restored, and extra 3% of damage will be stored in the Cauldron of Pain. So it would be always better if she can attack an opponent which already has the Despair mark, okay, the red bubbles that we've seen earlier. Okay guys, so that was just a brief description of her skills. Now, before we get to the more explanation, her gate partners are Vice, Mature, and Orochi. And as usual, easy gate partners, hopefully everybody should be able to work on them. And her gates aren't hard to be unlocked. Now, the question is Vice a good fighter or not? Well, definitely she is something new. I don't think we've seen such a hard killer or a solo killer as Vice before in the game. And especially like what I've mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are all, everybody without exception are suffering from Oswald and Ralph. And hopefully Vice can be a good counter for them, especially because of the Cauldron of Pain, this feature that they have given to her. So in addition to the base damage that she has, she will deal additional damage to those fighters, to tanks in specific. She can be a tank killer. So that's why Vice is definitely a good fighter to consider. Especially if you don't really have enough DPSs in your team, or let's say solo killer to be specific, then definitely I would recommend using Vice in your team. Now, in which team do I like her the most? Of course, in female teams. I don't know, I just always say that because in female teams you can give every fighter the rights, or you can give the maximum buffs to the females in specific. I mean, extra attack, extra resistance, you know, everything. The synergy in female team is just good for females. So I would see her best performance in female teams. Regardless though, I would like to see her in other teams. She would be really great in literally any team. Okay, it doesn't really have to be a female team. So I just wanted to add one more thing in specific, because we should be considering more synergies later on, especially with the new metas, with everything. I would really recommend using her with Mature as well, Cruel Beauty Mature, once she arrives. Because, well, I'm not gonna touch on the effects like the synergy that they give to each other, but it would be good for both of them. Both of them will benefit. In short, Mature can give Vice a shield once if she's in the team, and if Vice is in the team, Mature will be able to resurrect. So that's why, that's just a short brief description of the synergy between them, but it's definitely, let's say, better to have them both. Yet it's not really exclusive. It doesn't mean that if you get Vice you should get Mature as well. It's fine. I've seen a lot of teams with Vice only, with Mature only. They work good alone. It's not really needed. But you know, just considering the best options, female team and along with Mature as well. That's just my thoughts, okay? And yeah, finally, front or back. Actually, because you've seen her fight soul, because she does have a tortoise soul in her, and because she can resurrect, then you can actually use her at the front if you want. If you don't really have enough tankers, then you can actually put her at the front. If not, if you do have enough tankers, then yeah, at the back I would prefer seeing her at the back, because you want to boost her damage as much as you can. If you remember, the Cauldron of Pain relies on her own attack. It's 7 times her own attack, so definitely try to boost her attack as much as you can, and you know, you will see the good effect of it, I'm sure about it. And well, now moving to the runes, which runes are good for her? Of course, it's getting like clear now. So yeah, now here you should ask yourself, do I need Vice for damage or for resistance? Of course, you use her for damage, so that's why you would prefer using a damaging rune set. Second question would be, does she make an ultimate on round 1 or round 2? Basically, I'm saying, okay? So basically, she does make an ultimate on round 2, okay? Or even round rune set. So that's why you will, or even rounds, I mean. So definitely you would like to consider an even round damaging rune set. And here, you know, the choices will be Dragon Tiger or God's Wrath. Now, between the two, I would prefer Dragon Tiger more, because it does boost her base attack, and I did mention how important it is to boost her base attack. Second thing about God's Wrath, because usually, you know, God's Wrath boosts the crit, and usually DPSs have very high crit power, unlike ganks. So that's why God's Wrath or Killing Soul, let's say, the ones that boost the crit, would be better on a DPS, not a gank. So that's why, you know, regardless, I would just prefer to use Dragon Tiger on her. You can do some mixing, it's fine, but you know, using 6 Dragon Tiger runes would be great on her. And lastly, you know, the 5th Fight Soul. Now here, the 5th Fight Soul, there isn't actually any specific one for Vice, but I can give some suggestions. If you're using her at the front, you can use Guardian, you know, just to make her, let's say, survive and not receive fatal hits at the beginning, or let's say at the first 2 rounds. So Guardian would be good. Bloodthorns would be good as well if you're using her at the front. If not, if you're using her at the back, you can actually give her War God. Okay, now for example, why didn't I mention Storm Fight Soul? Just to talk about it, just a brief explanation for it. Storm Fight Soul, as you know, it would allow her to make 2 ultimates consecutively. But remember that when she makes her ultimate, she will empty all the energy, all the stored energy from the Cauldron of Pain. So that if she makes another ultimate, it won't really be that damaging as much as the first ultimate. So that's why I don't really recommend Storm Fight Soul on her. Instead, you can just use War God or any other Fight Soul that can cause a debuff instead. Okay, there isn't any specific one for Vice. So yeah guys, that was it for Vice. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something about it. What are your thoughts about Vice? Are you excited as much as I am to finally counter those Ralphs and Oswalds? Because I'm really suffering a lot from them. So yeah guys, let me know if you're going for Vice, and let me know your thoughts about her in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.